Hi guys, welcome to my first video. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for watching the video. This is my first video, so I'm going to be talking a lot about the predictions for the UFC 232. The fight takes place in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena with two title fights and a 13-fight card in total. Now, first fight of the night is between Montel Jackson and Brian Kelleher. Now, I've watched both of their last fights. Montel Jackson, as far as I can see, he likes to fight in southpaw. He's got a wide stance. He's very heavy on the right foot, which I do see Kelleher snapping that leg up quite easily. Jon Jackson does step out of range very well. He's got a fast left hand. He's very patient, which he does pick his shots, but I do think taking his time with Brian Kelleher could go against him in this fight, as he does throw a lot of single strikes as well. He has a low guard, which Kelleher likes to throw a lot of punches at once. So I do see not the first punch landing, not the second, but I do see the third and fourth striking, landing on Montel. He's got a good left kick to the body as well, which will be effective on the night. And when he gets taken down, he kind of flops and forgets what he's doing. So I'm not too sure about him on the back. With Brian Kelleher, everyone knows who Kelleher is. He's a good forward pressure fighter. He's got a good overhand right. He's constantly in your face, must be annoying. He's very good at tying the fight up, which I do see it happening in this fight. Once Montel starts landing a few strikes on him, I do see Kelleher tying it up. He is tough, he's gritty, he's a switch hitter, and he can strike from all angles with feet, head, everything, the lot. I do see this fight taking place, striking at the beginning. I do see Kelleher tying Jackson up quite early on in the fight as well, taking it down, tiring out. I do see Brian Kelleher winning this fight by a close decision, or I could see Montel Jackson getting a late stoppage as well. So my prediction for that, if I was to back on it, I would say Kelleher. Now, the second fight is between Curtis Millender, and CR Bahadurzada. Now, both of these are good fighters. Curtis is looking very good at the new weight. He's long, rangy. He likes the knee when the opponent comes in for the takedown, which I think CR will do quite a bit. I do see the knee landing a fair few times on this fight. He cuts off the cage well, Curtis. Very powerful. He's good going forward, but I'd say his biggest downfall is when he's on his back foot. He's not that effective at all. Once he's got you hurt, he will go in for the kill, which I do see him landing a fair few strikes on CR early on. And he does use his gas tank quite well for a big guy. So I don't know, it's quite a tough one this. And CR is very orthodox, very aggressive in your face, quite basic in his striking, very active with his ground and pound. He does slow down towards the end of the fight. He is a very good counter puncher, but I don't see him landing his counters on someone as long and rangy as Curtis. And he does have one shot KO power. If I was to say on this one, I would go with Curtis Millender, late stoppage or a points victory, but wouldn't put me out on seeing Millender KOing him quite early, to be honest, as well. Now, the next fight is quite a good fight. It's between Uriah Hall and Bivon Lewis. Uriah Hall's a slight favourite in this. Obviously, he got turned up last time he fought against Paulo Costa. Put up a good fight early on until the size really got of him. He does his spinning shit. He likes his kicks. He's very, very unpredictable. Likes his elbows. He likes to get in your face. Bevon, he's very good. He trains with Jon Jones. I've watched his last 3 fights the other night on Fight Pass, and you can see the Jon Jones style in him as well. He's good at switching up with arm and leg strikes. He's good at elbows, and especially with your knees in the tie clinch as well. Very effective. Very good pressure fighter. He picks his shots very well. He's got a good takedown defence, which I don't see it being an issue against Uriah. You see Uriah striking with him as well. One thing I don't like about Bevan is when he does get hurt, he just retreats in a straight line, which I do see. I do see Uriah hurting him a couple of times, and if he does retreat like he has done in previous fights, I do see the experience of Uriah taking him on this. So if I was a betting man, which I am, I would go with a Uriah Hall knockout or Uriah Hall points on that one. The next fight is between Nathaniel Wood and Andrade Ewell. Watched Nathaniel Wood since his early days. He had a good fight in his UFC debut, won by, I think it was a Darce choke when Johnny Eduardo attempted to take him down in his second. Quite a close fight. Did get his legs chewed up quite a bit early on, but like I say, Eduardo attempted to take him down and Nathaniel just tied him up instantly. Very Tony Ferguson style Darce choke it was. It was very nice. He's got a good left hook. He stalks his opponents down and throws with 3 to 5 punches at once. He likes to stay in the centre of the cage, and he does throw a lot of combos, but he has a very high boxing guard, and with that the leg kicks are there to be chewed up all night. Andrade Ewell had a good first debut in the UFC against Barao, ex-champion, dropped him within the first minute. Barao then kind of took him down and just dominated him for the first round, tied him out a little bit. He came out in the second half and pretty much dominated Barao on his feet, used his distance, his long range, nice fast jab. He's a southpaw, he's got a very, very accurate left hand, very looping, long, does catch you quite a bit. It's quite a tough fight this to go. I do like Nathaniel. I just see Andrade Ewell beating him on points or late knockout. Tough fight to call, but I would say, hard to say because Nathaniel's a local boy, but I do see Andrade Ewell winning that quite easily. The next fight is between BJ Penn and Ryan Hall. BJ, I don't really like seeing him fight at this stage in his career. He's lost his last fight to decision to Dennis Siver, which BJ Penn in his prime would never even dream of doing something like that. He looked very, very sloppy. It's bad to see him even fight, like I said. He's just a shadow of his old self. Ryan Hall, like I say, he's the one of the probably the best leg lock specialist on the planet. He last fought Gray Maynard in December 2016. Was a points win. That was his last fight. He is very awkward on his feet. Does go down on his back, brings the opponents down and attempts to tie the leg in. But like I say, I just think they're both very inactive fighters recently. BJ Penn's probably the more active, but I do see Ryan Hall taking this fight by points victory or submission. Not the best fight of the night, I don't think. Now, the next fight is between Douglas Andrade and Petr Yan. Douglas Andrade is, if you've not seen him before, he's very exciting, very energetic. He throws everything with power, literally everything, the kitchen sink. He does fight a lot out of southpaw. He can switch it up to orthodox as well if he feels the need to. He has lots of inside leg kicks, lots and lots. Just disrupts the patterns of the opponents. He has lots of head and leg flinches that makes him look busy. But half the time he doesn't really do much. He just kind of feints. But if the fight's not doing much, he does look the more active fighter. Like I said, with his head flinches and his feints. He never stops coming forward. He must be annoying to fight. He literally never gives you 2 seconds to set anything up. Very effective with it. High work rate. He's got a very high leaping overhand right. Can't get my words out at the minute. But like I say, he's a very good fighter. He's only lost 2, I think, out of 27 fights. Petr Yan, he's very orthodox. He's got a very high guard. An excellent takedown defence. He looks quite basic on the feet, but he's not. He uses his angles very well. Tiny, slight little head movements, cuts the angles off very well. Can be quite deceiving. He's got very good counters, and I'd say his best punch on the feet is probably his uppercut. Does time that very well. He's a very slow starter as well. Does obviously progress throughout the fight, speeds up. Third round is probably his most active, looking to get the ground and pound in. He does like to fight in the pocket. It's a tough one to call this. I don't see Douglas Andrade knocking Petr Yan out. I do see it being a high work rate fight. I do see it going the distance. I would say I do like Petr Yan, but like I say, Andrade's always there or thereabouts. I would say it would be a Petr Yan points decision just on his technical skills. Now, the next fight is between Kat Zingano and Megan Anderson. Now, the first one I would like to talk about, this one is the size of Megan Anderson. It's going to be massive in the fight. She's very tall, long. She's crafty on the ground. Last fight, she went the distance with Holly Holm, which was a good fight. She likes to feint a lot of strikes. Very strong, and she uses the distance and the range very well. We all know what Kat Zingano's like. She's all very well rounded. She can punch, she can submit. She's good on the ground, she's good on the feet. I just think with the youth and the momentum at the minute with Megan Anderson, I see Megan Anderson getting a points victory on this. Now we go to the heavies with Arlovski and Walt Harris. Watched the last couple of Arlovski's fights. He's still got it. He's still fast. He's experienced. He's very vulnerable to takedowns later in his career. Did have a very good high takedown defence record as he was a few years back. But like I said, the last couple of fights, he just seemed to get taken down quite easily. Best thing about Arlovski, I'd say, is his timing. He's more dangerous in the first 2 minutes of each round, which is understandable with the size and power of him. Like I say, he reads the opponents very well. Walt Harris is a southpaw, very patient, very explosive up close. Got fast high kicks for a big guy. Got good knees. He's got good head movement and good flinches, which I think will be the key factor in this fight. He's got a heavy left. I just see Walt Harris being too explosive in the youth of him. I see him getting up close against the cage and just unloading on Arlovski and finishing with ground and pound in that fight. The next one is between Chad Mendes and Alexander Volkanovski. This is a good fight for Chad. He's only had 2 fights since July 2015. One fight since 2015. That was a KO of Miles Jury in round 1. He's an excellent wrestler. Constantly good work rate, constantly in your face. He's tough, very strong. He's fought some of the best. Volkanovski is very exciting. If you've never seen him before, he's only lost 1 fight. He can do it all. He's very tricky. He went the distance with Darren Elkins in his last fight, which is not a bad thing. Some of the best will go to the distance with Darren. He's very tough man. Strange. Very good at slipping, and he's very good at timing that with the straight right as he's coming back. A few years ago, I would say Chad Mendes would walk this through the park. Alexander's very crafty, technical as well. But I just see the experience. I see a bit of a one step too soon for Alexander, and I see Chad Mendes taking this by points on this fight. The next fight's between Illr Latifi and Corey Anderson. Now, Uriah Latifi's on a bit of a roll at the minute. He beat Tyson Pedro, and then he's submitted over in St. Preux. He's an absolute unit of a guy. He's got devastating power. He's good wrestler and grappler. Daniel Cormier did actually state on in his last fight that he was actually one of the strongest guys he's ever wrestled and grappled with. He's southpaw as well. He's hard to take down. Once you're hurt, he will go in for the kill as well, and he can submit you from anywhere. As you can see, submitting one of the best submission artists in the heavier weights and ovens. Corey's usually good at closing down the distance. He disguises his takedown well with a few punches and goes straight down for the double leg. He's got a tricky right hand and he can be hit. Just don't see Corey Anderson being able to KO Illr Latifi. I do see Latifi going on with this fight and taking it on and just dominating the fight, the points victory or weight stoppage of Corey. So with that one, I'd say Latifi to win. Now, this one, I'm very excited about this fight between Carlos Condit and Michael Chiesa. Condit hasn't won since 2015 when he beat Thiago Alves by knockout in round 2. He got subbed by Alex Oliveira in April this year, and 5 of his 12 losses have come by submission, 3 by choke, which is Chiesa's go-to move, I suppose. We all know Condit was a killer, but he doesn't have that look at him anymore. He's very predictable. He thinks too much what he's going to do, whereas before he would just instinct would just take over. But I think now he's a bit too worried about the strikes coming back, which doesn't really play part well for Carlos. As I think that will stop his striking going on if he's a bit too worried about what's coming back with him. But then again, Chiesa's he's never knocked anyone out, so I don't see Carlos Condit being too worried about the strikes coming towards him. Chiesa lost his last fight, which was a bit of a surprise submission to Anthony Pettis. He also had last controversial loss to Kevin Lee in April 2017, rear naked choke. Personally, I think that should have been stopped. I don't think it was controversial. Like I said, he's never knocked anyone out, and as soon as you're down, he looks to take you back and go for that submission. I just think with the age and just the way the fight goes with Chiesa taking this, I do see him taking the back of Carlos Condit quite early on and submitting him, or a points victory for Chiesa. Now we go to the women's featherweight title fight between Cyborg and Amanda Nunes, champ v champ. Now they're both similar in height, reach. Over the last few weeks I've seen videos of Amanda and she has bulked up a bit. Does she still have a punch power, speed? Don't know. If she has, then it's going to be a really tough night for Cris, but I just think it's going to be a bit too much of a step up for Amanda in such short notice. Cyborg's only ever gone once to the distance since the UFC reign, and that was against Holly Holm, 5-round decision. The rest have come by knockout. This is Amanda's, like I said, it's her first fight in the featherweight division. They both do usually carry the punching power on quite late, but like I say, I just feel with Cris Cyborg, with the advantage of the size on the night, I think she's going to be a lot bigger. I do see Cris Cyborg winning a close fight by a weight stoppage or a points victory. Nunes will probably cause a lot of problems, but I just think Cyborg will be too big on the night. So I would say late stoppage or points victory for Cris Cyborg. Now the main fight is, which everyone's been waiting for, is between Jon Jones and Alexander Gustafsson. The light heavyweight title fight is a rematch of the previous fight back in 2015. There's been quite a bit of debate about this, which one won. Did Jon win or did Alex win? Personally, I had Alex winning 3-2 on that, but can't argue the case that Jon got the decision. It's a very close fight. Both fighters have got a lot better since the first fight. Boxing skills, I'd say, is what skill set has improved the most in both of them. Just thinking this fight, Jones's distant management is going to be too good for Alex. And I do honestly think, I'm a massive Alex fan, but I do honestly think Jon Jones underestimated Alex in the first fight. And I think he'll be wanting to go out there and prove a point today or tomorrow. I don't see Alexander taking Jon down this time. I do, but then again, I also see Jon taking Alex down quite a bit and using the ground and pound in there to tire him out as much as possible. It's my verdict on that. I do see Jon Jones winning by a KO or points, but I don't see anything happening majorly to the 3rd or 4th round. Alex could win, so it's one of them. Alex could win, depends how they both looked. Both had a big way off. It's all about who's been looking after themselves the best in between fights, I suppose. But Alex could win. Both got very good at boxing skills. His uppercuts, ridiculous. Alex's. His boxing skills, I would say, are a little bit better than Jon's. But I would say Jon is an all-round better fighter. So on my bet, I'm going to put Jon Jones to win by points or late stoppage. But then again, I also bet I'm also going to have the fight to go the distance. And that's pretty much it for UFC 232, guys. Now, as you can probably tell, I'm nervous as hell doing my first video. You can probably hear it in my croaky voice, but one again, it's one of them, isn't it? Gonna have to get better as time progresses. Second video will be going a lot more smoother. I've spent about 15-20 hours doing research into this fight. I will put my predictions into the comment list or into the description. Saves me doing another video for that. Please comment, please subscribe, please share my video, my link. Just trying to help a fan out, really. If you could also let me know what predictions you've put in the comments, that'd be great. If you just leave your feedback, and I hope you enjoy the card. Thanks. Speak to you soon, guys. Bye.